welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Amy. Thank you so much for joining me. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at two palettes from BH Cosmetics, and they are the Weekend Vibes Avocado Toast palette and the Chillin in Chicago palette. So one thing you guys don't know about me is that I am from Chicago, born and raised. And so, of course, seeing anything Chicago themed, I absolutely had to pick it up. And so today, so for today's video, we're going to create two looks using these palettes. So it'll be one on each eye. So we're going to have a little bit of fun. So if you're interested in seeing what I come up with these two babies, keep watching. Before we jump into creating the actual looks, let's first take a look at these palettes. So this is the Chillin in Chicago, and this is what the palette looks like. And I must say that I love the shade names, even though it's, you know, it's tourist Chicago. So like you have names like Windy City, 312, the original Chicago area code, 312. Riverwalk, and finally Chi-Town. So that is what this beautiful palette looks like. Now let's take a look at this beauty, the Avocado Toast. So it is, as you have probably already guessed, it is a nice green palette. So like a green and brown. So a nice cool tone palette. And you've got the shade names Avocado, which is adorable, Superfood, Paprika, Pit, Green Juice, Guac, Extra, and Holy Moly. So this eyes are primed and prepped, brows are done. And so I always have to say this, you know, just for the new people and for the people in the back. I have two different eye shapes. So this eye protrudes a little bit more than this eye. They're both hooded, but this eye, as you can see, I have a little bit more lid space here than I have here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do a halo look or a spotlight eye on this side, and then we'll do just a normal cut crease look, or you know, something kind of basic or whatever I decide to do on this eye. I'm going to start with the Avocado Toast palette first. We're going to start with this yellow shade here, and it is called Over Easy. And I'm taking this JS brush. I cannot see the writing on here. That white on pink was not a good idea. I don't know who thought about that. But I'm going to pick this up on this brush. And I hope that it shows up. I'm going to press it all over in my crease. It's a little light, but you know, we'll work through it. I'm just going to press it all over my crease. I'm not blending it out yet, just pressing it on. Once I have it packed all over the crease, I'm going to go ahead and buff it out. Take another JS brush. It's a little smaller than the first one, and I'm going to pick up this green shade here called Avo Toast on top of the Over Easy shade. And again, I'm just packing it on first, staying in that socket in my crease. And that is my actual crease, not my natural crease. Once I have it all in place, then I will buff out the edges. So we want to just get that in there. And then now let's go ahead and buff it out, because we don't want any harsh edges. Next, I'm going to grab this Morphe 456 brush from the James Charles collection. And we're going to pick up this green shade here called Ripe. And we're just going to deepen this up a bit. And I'm just going to blend this right out. Just blend it right into that green there. We're just deepening this up just a tad. Then I'm going to switch back to the second Jeffree Star brush that has the Avo Toast shade. And I'm just going to, not picking up any additional pigment, but just going to blow and blend out the edges. Keep that nice and soft. I'm gonna pick up this brown shade here called Pick, and I'm using a Real Techniques crease brush. Now, a lot of people would just kind of take the darker pigment and just go bring it up on the two sides. But what works best for me and for my eye shape is to go ahead and fill in the whole space with the brown, because I'm gonna cut the middle anyway. So it's a little easier for my eye shape. So I'm just gonna pick up this brown shade Pick, and I'm putting it on top of, and I'm staying just on top of my natural little fold, not taking this all the way up, and I'm not even going to really blend this out too much. I don't want to over blend this. I just want to keep it right here, place it where it's going to go. And just kind of build up the color without really blending it out. Go back in with the Morphe 456 brush, pick up just a little bit of that right shade, and now I'm going to blend this out. Blend these two together, because we don't want to lose what we're doing here. And now I'm going to take this HD concealer that I got from my local beauty supply store, and it is in the shade Porcelain. Pick this up on this flat brush, and normally I would put like a dab on my lash line and look up, but that doesn't always help, and it's still not up far enough. So I kind of know where I want to place this, so I'm going to go right where the brown and the green meet. I'm going to just put a dab there, and I'm going to just drag this down. Drag it down. And I'm going to blend out the edges to carve the shape that I want. And I really kind of just want a rectangle, if you will. Sorry about that, guys. I got a call that came through and it cut the recording. So basically what I've done is I have mapped out the shape down the center of my eye. So it's a little more of like a house shape. So it's like arched and then, you know, straight coming down. So what I'm going to do is taking that Real Techniques brush, I'm going to dip back into the shade Pit, which is this brown shade. And I'm just going to just dab that. Press that into the edges, because I don't want this to be harsh. I don't want any harsh lines. And so, and the concealer has dried down a bit. So on both sides, I am just dabbing on this brown. Sort of patting it on. I'm going to actually switch to a smaller brush. I'm going to grab this Morphe M506 brush, and I'm going to use that brush to do this. That works much better. And I'm going just like up to the line. I'm going to grab some setting spray, and then on this Morphe 124 brush from the James Charles collection, I'm going to pick up this shade here, Green Juice. It's a shimmer shade, and I'm going to pick it up on the brush first, give it a spritz, and I'm going to press this next to, pressing it next to the shade Pit. Just pressing it right next to it. Let's bring that up a bit. Gonna dip back into the dark shade Pit on that Real Techniques brush and just sort of tap those two together. I'll pick it up on that second brush, and there we go. Want a nice blend and a nice transition. I'm going to clean the Morphe brush. And then we're going to pick up this shade here called Haas. This greenish gold shade here. I'm going to wet the brush. I'm going to pick this up. And then we're going to just strike this right down the center. You want to completely cover the concealer, and we want to marry it next to the green shade, so we get like this kind of shape. I'm going to pick up the shade Avocado, which is that shade there. I'm going to completely saturate this brush because I want it wet. I'm going to pick up this shade and just dab it on top down the middle. Just to give it, it gave it a nice little sparkle. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but in person, it gave it just the perfect amount of sparkle down the middle. I'm going to tap a little bit more of the Haas shade and just marry those two together just because I wanted a nice shine and a nice pop, and it gave me just what I wanted. Perfect. Maybelline Lasting Drama liner. It's a gel liner, and this is a little brush that came with it. So I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to have this small e.l.f. brush, and I'm going to use that instead of the brush that was with this. I think this will work, but yes, this works much better. And we're just gonna line the top. Just gonna take it out just a tad. And we're just gonna smudge this on top of. Now, so because this eye tends to slant a little downward, I have to cheat. And I'm going to just draw where it slants down. I'm going to stay at the high point of my lash line, and I'm going to draw a straight line straight across. And this will give the illusion that this eye is straight. So that straightens out my line here. And so this is one way that I create symmetry. So nothing on my face is symmetric. And so through makeup, we can create symmetry. Now we move on to Chillin' in Chicago. And so I'm going to start with, I'm going to grab just a regular blending brush, and I'm going to start with this shade Deep Dish. So I'm going to start with the shade Deep Dish right here, and I'm going to pop that in my crease. Yep, so we're going to start really warm here. I like BH Cosmetics. I have quite a few BH Cosmetics palettes. I love the consistency of their shadows. You know, they're reasonably priced. They perform very well. I will put a link on the screen where I did the BH Cosmetics, the Diamond Dazzler. So I am a fan of BH Cosmetics, and this shade just, I mean, it blended out beautifully. I'm going to take this number 6 brush from the BH Cosmetics Crystal Quartz collection, and I'm going to dip into this lighter shade here called Rush Street. And I'm just going to lightly dab into that And I'm going to blend this out on top of that first shade. Just some really light circles just to blend this out. Just very lightly. And I am going up to the line of my brow in the front, and we're just blending this out. I'm going to grab a, this is just a flat shader brush. And this is one of the, I got this from in an Ipsy bag, like maybe about a year, maybe even 2 years ago. I'm going to grab this shade, the L. It's sort of a pinky color. It's a light color. And I'm going to run this shade across my brow, under my brow line. And that is just to keep that nice and warm, and it'll give me like a distinction of where these colors are. So just running it lightly under, like outlining my brow with this shade. And I'm just going to put it under there and just fill that in. And that's just gonna give me a little bit more dimension and shape. I'm gonna take this BH Cosmetics brush from the Crystal Quartz collection. I don't know the number, it is completely rubbed off. And so it is a little bit more dense. And we're gonna pick up this shade Sky Deck. And I'm going to put that in the crease on top of the first shade. And we are just gonna deepen this up. Shade I use. We are just blending this out. I really want to kind of blow out the outer edge. For this eye, I'm going to cut in my orbital bone because I want you to still be able to see this when my eye is open. So, taking that same concealer on that same brush, and we're going to draw out. I'm going to first stamp where I'm going to get my mirror a little closer, and I'm using a magnifying mirror to do this. I'm going to just go right where I want to and just kind of carefully draw out where this is going. So I want this to, I don't want that dip to be so harsh. There we go. All right, and then now we just fill in the lid. Uh-oh. Gotta be careful. I finished cutting the crease, that concealer until it dried, but I don't like the way this shape came out. It's not what I was going for. So, because you know, guys, I like to be honest, full transparency, we're going to fix this eye. So we're going to change this, end up changing this to a half cut crease. And so what I'm going to do is go in with this BH Cosmetics brush, go back into the Sky Deck shade, and I'm going to just press that into the corner. So I'm just going to like blend this in the outer third of my eye. So I'm going to pick up some additional pigment and really want to cover that little mistake. And guys, don't be afraid. Like, if you mess something up, like, you can always go back and fix it. It's just makeup. All right, so I'm going to pick up that first shade on the first brush. And I'm going to blend this on top of that, because I'm covering up my little mishap. So I'm going to just blend it on top of here first. Because we're just covering up. And then I'm going to go back in with the brown. And there you have it. For shimmers, we are going to take the two shades Lakeview and Bean. And so I'm going to start with Bean, and I'm going to pick up that same brush from before that we did the other eye with. I'm going to wipe that off real good. Saturate with some setting spray. And I'm going to just put it next to place it next to and kind of drag it a little bit into the Sky Deck shade. And we're just putting that such a pretty color. Just putting it right. Gonna bring that about halfway in. I'm going to pick up some on the brush, and then I'm going to wet the brush just to give me a little bit more. We're pulling that into the center. So when we get about halfway, we're going to switch to the other color. And I am being careful to take this up to that line. This brush again, saturate it with some setting spray. Pick up Lakeview, and we're going to fill that in the rest of the way. And this is such a pretty shade. And I'm going to take a little bit and just kind of pull it. I'm going to merge these two together so we get a nice transition. Because again, guys, we want, wrong eye. Again, we want movement as we move between these colors. Pick up more of the dark shade Sky Deck, and we're going to marry those together. Taking the gel liner, we're going to do the same thing on this eye that we did on the other eye. Now, because this eye is a little more hooded and this eye tends to be a little downturned, we have to lift this eye. So again, creating more illusion. You know, well, not necessarily illusion, but creating symmetry that we do not have. So keeping that as a straight line so that the eye doesn't pull down. And basically doing the same thing inwardly, because this eye has like it slopes up. It's like slopes up and then comes down. So I have to recreate the shape of this eye using symmetry. So drawing straight lines. So because this is dark the wing doesn't have to be totally defined because you really can't see it anyway. So I'm really just going to angle, when I cut this with the concealer, I'm going to just kind of angle out this eye to lift it, and that'll give me that elongated look. Everything is done. I changed my shirt, whipped up a little headdress. These are the finished eyes. And so this is the Avocado Toast eye, and this is the Chillin in Chicago eye. And I think they both turned out really, really pretty. I adjusted my lighting, so I wanted you guys to really be able to get a really clear picture of what this looks like. So I am pleased with both of these palettes. So yeah, and for $16, 16 shades, so it's about $1 a shade, which is not bad at all. Not bad at all. So we definitely put them on the right side. These are definitely a win for me. So the Avocado Toast, I love the shades, love the colors, love the way this eye turned out. Everything blended well together nicely. The shimmers performed well, both wet and dry. So this palette is an A+ for me. This is the Chillin in Chicago palette. And so this palette, again, performed well. They're actually of equal quality. So blendability was good. The pigmentation was there. Not a lot of fallout. Not a lot of kickback in the pan. So this just performed well overall. Well, gang, that's it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. If you're not a member of the Amy Gang, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. My face is going to pop up on this screen somewhere. That's your opportunity to go ahead and subscribe to the Amy Gang. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.